All right, guys, here for my weekly what sold video. This week wasn't like super amazing or like a huge home run, but definitely still made some good sales. I will show you what I picked up, but I'll also talk about what I would not pick up again. So be sure you're subscribed down below, like and comment anytime throughout the video to help get it some engagement. I am trying to get 100 thumbs up in every video, so if that's a free way that you guys can help me. So we're going to get into it. I actually made more sales through like direct sales when I posted stuff in my Instagram story than Mercari and Depop combined. So I'm glad that I'm doing that. Sometimes I feel like it's too spammy, but I think some people don't mind shopping that way. So that's been great. I'll talk to you about that, although I need to start writing them down because some of them I don't remember what they were. So if you are coming from my channel and you did buy from me that way, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I will, I guess, talk about the couple that I do remember at first. I know I sold a pair of Goldie shorts to a previous buyer. She bought some other pants from me before, some rag and bone joggers. And she bought the Goldie shorts for $50. So that was amazing. Oh, I think I know what they all are. Okay. So that was great. Thank you so much. I had another buyer. She bought 3 things. She bought a pair of dojo jeans, a belt that I found at the thrift store. It was like a Western style belt. And then what was the third thing? She bought 3 things. She bought them all. She bought all 3 for $80. Now I can't remember what the other one was. Okay, if I remember, I'll tell you guys. And anyway, and then the other one was a pair of Lululemon Align joggers. I sold those yesterday to somebody for $25 plus shipping. So when I do my sales through my Instagram stories, I do it through Venmo. Usually I don't charge as much because there's no fees that have to be taken out. So I'm really glad to give those buyers a good deal. I will talk about my numbers at the end. I have them right here. I'm going to put it up on my computer. So hopefully I won't forget. So we are going to talk about Mercari here. I only had one sale on Mercari this week, and it was a J. Crew blazer. This was the park blazer. I actually found 2 park blazers recently, but one was a purple wool blazer, which most likely will sell better in the fall and the winter. This one was a linen blend, so I think that's obviously why it sold right now. It sold for $33.30. It has the material right there. It was a tan color. It was pretty recent, so I was really happy to pick that up. And then I only had one. What did I just, oh, okay. I'm like, what did I just X out? Only one Depop sale as well, and that was these pair of vintage Doc Marten sandals. These sold for $60. I got these just last week at a garage sale. So I did try to go to garage sales again yesterday. It was kind of a fail. I only filmed like literally one house. It is coming up in an upcoming video, but I also filmed some thrifting. But I really wanted to go today, Friday. If you guys would be in prayer for my husband's family. His grandma passed away this week. So we are going to her funeral today. She lived a great life, though. She was 93. She never had to live in a nursing home. She was like still going out and dancing at the Eagles Club with her friends. It was actually a really crazy story. So she was out last weekend on Friday or Saturday. And she went out to the Eagles Club with her friends dancing. She had her van. My husband's not sure if she had 1 or 2 drinks, but she got out of it, didn't realize it wasn't in park. She then fell, and then it rolled over and like crushed her legs. She was, I mean, not that she was okay, but she was in the hospital. They had her stable. They said they were going to have to do surgery. And then all of a sudden, just like a couple days later, she passed away. So I'm guessing some kind of traumatic like injury or maybe a blood clot, something like internally that we didn't know about. But like we said, like we're glad like she lived her life like all the way to the end. Like we were listening to a podcast the other day about people when you're aging, like stop telling your grandma to stay in the house or stay out of the sun or stay out of the heat. Like the more you move and the more active you are, it increases your longevity. And I feel like that's what she did. And so anyway, she was a great little grandma. So if you could be in prayer for him, that's what we're doing today. There's some major garage sales. I can't go to them, and that's why. I just like totally trailed off there. These sandals were so fun. They remind me of my youth, but when I was young, I was poor, and I couldn't afford these, so I had to have like the off-brand ones. But these are super cool. They're very, very heavy. Super quick sale on Depop. We are not surprised by that. That's my numbers for May, and you guys don't really need to see that. Let's go on to Poshmark next. I sold these Fly London shoes for $24. I just picked these up recently. I'm going to move my little paper over just a little bit. Just picked these up recently at a thrift store. They sold probably in under a week. They were black patent leather wedge lace up shoes, so $24 on those, and that was a really fast sale, so I am happy with that. Next up were these Lululemon leggings that only sold for 10. So what had happened is I sold these before. I did not realize there was this really tiny little hole, and so they got returned to me. So I went ahead and sold them again. Just added that new picture. I did end up making like $2 on them based what I paid, so not much profit, but I already had the listing and everything. All I had to do was just add one picture and relist it. So I was like, so I listed them for 15 and they offered me 10. I'm like, okay, whatever. Next was a Lily Pulitzer sweatshirt. This was a black sweatshirt, so I wasn't sure how this was going to do because it's not like classic Lily Pulitzer, but it wasn't a size extra large, so I think that helped. It was the Luxletic line, which is their athletic line, and here's what that tag looks like. So I will still pick this up. It does pretty well for me. Next is a pair of redone jeans that only sold for 10. I've had these well over a year, and I have actually tried to relist these a couple of times. They're a relaxed crop, and I don't know what happened to the brand, but for some reason it is not selling good for me. So this would be something, like I said at the beginning, I would not pick up again. There goes my little sticky note. Next, I sold a pair of men's Rothy's shoes. They sold these for $25. I have had these for quite a while as well. So I wasn't sure if men's was the same as women's, whereas they're not as popular anymore. Actually, I don't even know, were men's Rothy's ever popular? Let me know if you guys have sold them before and how much they sold for you. But I did, like I said, I've had these for a while, sold for $25. I guess I wouldn't mind getting them again if they were cheap, but I wouldn't pay up for them. I sold this Alley Miles sweater for $25. I wasn't sure how this would do because it was definitely a thicker sweater type material, but it did sell really fast. It was in a size 1X, so plus size does tend to do better for me for Alley Miles. Next was the brand Roxy, but not the Roxy like you think of with surf. These are a pair of Mary Jane red suede shoes. I got these based on style being a Mary Jane and a red suede. And why did I write Roxy? They're literally Danskos. I'm actually stupid because I probably could have sold these for more if I had the right title. Some people were even roasting me in my own Poshmark listing the other day, and they were right. They're like, because I accidentally had this dress and I had the size, it was right everywhere except in the item item specifics. And so they're like, oh, you had the wrong size. So I fixed it, whatever. And then these two people were like commenting back and forth. They're like, yeah, she has errors in her other listings too. I was like, dang. And then I'm like, you have nothing else better to do with your time than like look around at my listings. But anyway, I'm dumb. These could have most likely sold for more. I wonder if they were in let me see on my listing. Oh, you can't. Never mind. I was wondering if they were like in the category of like Dansko as the brand, like when people do like navigation. Well, that was stupid of me. Anyway, I was wondering about that. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, next up is a Hatch sweatshirt. This is a size small. It is a black, like wrap style sweatshirt. Hatch is a maternity brand. It's like one of the only maternity brands that I know that does well. I did find a pair of jeans at the thrift store the other day. So that's coming up in an upcoming video. Let me know if you've sold it, if you've heard of it, or if you know of any other good maternity brands. This sold for $32. The person was trying to start at $15 and I stuck to $32. And she did eventually, over a couple of days, come up to what I was asking. So I think it is good to counter. I originally declined her $15 offer, and then I think she came up to $20 or $22 or something. After she got to that, I was willing to work with her because it was over 50% of my asking. But I just stuck with my $32. I felt like I knew that it was worth it. It hadn't been listed very long, and she did eventually match it, so that's great. Next for these Solomon boots, I would recommend looking for these for hiking. These ones were a mid-top, so mid-top does tend to sell a little bit better than the low top, and this is a really good hiking brand I like to sell. It does pretty well. Next, we sold this Jules jacket for $32. This is not a brand I ever pick up, but this was a seersucker, so this type of material, it's like striped, and it has this certain type of texture sometimes, I feel like. Plus, this was new with tags. You can see this retailed for $124.95, which is crazy. But usually the brand does not have resale value very much. So that was the two reasons why I picked it up, seersucker and new with tags. I sold this Barbour sweater, if that's how you say it. I feel like I said it once in a short form video and people made fun of me. So What's new? People are making fun of me on the internet. This was a men's navy blue vintage wool leather elbow pullover sweater, sold for $35. I'm happy to sell a really thick sweater in April. Next was this Patagonia black pack sling backpack. I got this at a thrift store for my mom to use at Disney. She never ended up using it, and she gave it back to me, and I sold it for $20. It was kind of dirty, kind of worn out, but I was glad for a really quick flip that sold super fast. Next up was this Lily Pulitzer dress. This sold for $26. This was a size 14. It was the Delia shift dress. It had little bows down at the bottom side, really cute. Not trying to overprice my Lily anymore because a lot of it is selling right around $25 to $35, I feel like, on average for the dresses, but I would still say to look it up. Obviously, some newer pieces will do better, but this is in the era of the pieces I feel like that just sell around that much. I sold this Patagonia hoodie for $23. This did end up selling pretty quickly. I know some people say a lot of Patagonia is oversaturated, but I will still pick it up in a lot of stuff. Maybe just don't price it as much as other people are trying to get for it. This was also in a size XXL, which I definitely think was good and a factor. Next up were a pair of Judy blue jeans that sold for $23. These were in a size 32, and they were a dark wash boot cut. So larger size and a boot cut rather than a skinny. Those are good factors to be on the lookout for. They're still not selling for a ton, but it's a good like bread and butter type sale. Next was a Dress the Population dress, which I've sold this brand a couple times before for good money. This one I've had for a really long time. It had only sold for $11. It was a pink lace, like almost like fitted type midi dress. So I would just be really careful, I guess, about the brand, and I don't know. I mean, when I looked up comps originally, they were good, but now it didn't sell good. This is a Miracle Suit swimsuit. If this looks familiar, it's because I sold it before. It got returned for fit. I sold it again for $42 on eBay. Size 16, kind of looks like a vintagey type one. So that's a brand that I definitely like to wear. I've never worn it. Sell for swimsuits. This sold really fast. This is a Lululemon sweatshirt. It was a scuba hoodie. It was a gray cropped one. And at size 2, this is an excellent newer style. I would pick this up anytime you see it, as long as it is a good price. $40 on that. Sold in about a day. I sold these Keen women's boots. Again, here's a mid-top style that sells a little bit better. These ones sold for $29. These were the Canby. They had an aluminum toe. They were kind of worn out, as you can see, and beat up. But with these type of outdoor brands or work boots, that doesn't matter as long as like everything else is still in good condition, like nothing's falling apart and things like that. So that was a great sale. And then I sold these Spanx pants. These were in a size 2X. These were the pair of black crepe ankle pants. And this is the newer Spanx logo. These were also new with tags. They only sold for $30. Could have probably sold them for more, but my sales were pretty bad this week. So I was taking offers if I was making a good profit, and that was still a good profit for me. This Free People top sold extremely quickly. You guys might have seen this recently in a video. If you didn't, it would be coming up really soon. Intimately Free People. I got it because of the style. I mean, also, I like the brand, but like this style is very interesting with these big tulle sleeves. So that was a really fast sale. Next up was this Citron Santa Monica cardigan or kimono. This sold for $23. This was a tie-dye type one, and this one was viscose spandex. I do have better luck selling the silk ones for more money, but I still wanted to pick this one up just based on the brand of the style. Next was a new with tags Kate Spade dress that I've had forever. This sold for $45. Excuse me. I do like to sell Kate Spade clothing sometimes, but I feel like a lot of times it takes a really long time and it doesn't sell for very much money. So this one was the Mariella Fit and Flare dress. Retailed for $398. Nuts. Sold for $45. So retail means nothing. Sometimes it's only worth what someone's going to pay. I sold a Lululemon Swiftly Tech. This one was gray size 8. This sold for $24. Still picking them up for the Swiftly Techs. They still do consistently good for me from Lululemon, so I'm happy about that. Next up were another pair of Judy blue jeans. These ones were a size 32. They were a boyfriend fit. And these ones only sold for $19. But why does this picture look like they're skinny? I feel like I put up the picture that went with the style number. I don't know. Anyway. $19 sale there. This is an $18 sale. This is the brand Sims. This is a men's like fishing brand. I don't know if they make women's. I got this for my brother, but then I got it home and realized that it had this like logo embroidery in the sleeve, and I didn't think you would want it. This Alaska Rainbow Lodge. It did sell for $18, but it did take quite a while. Next was the brand standard James purse. These were a pair of pants that sold for $27. I had an Instagram viewer message me and say that she had a few pairs of pants from them that weren't moving. I don't know. I don't know what to tell people when that happens. We could be having different pictures. We could be having different titles, keywords, price. There's all kinds of things that go into it. And then sometimes buyers just see your listing. I don't know. My things maybe are shared more often. I have offers that are sent out within minutes of people liking my item. I do use PrimeLister for that, which I think is a definite big plus for my Poshmark. I like to send somebody offers really, really quickly after they liked it, because they could be moving on and buy it somewhere else and not get yours. So I'm glad that I have PrimeLister for those features and like being able to do it for me, because I think that's how I get a lot of my sales. There is a code down below if you guys want to try it out and get a discount on your first month. Next up are these pair of Abercrombie and Fitch jeans. These are in a size 6 long. I was going to try them myself, and then I'm just like, I don't want to wear these. So I sold them for $15 really fast. I sold this Stio shirt for $12. I think I just sold another long sleeve one last week for really cheap, so I might not get these anymore. I feel like the sweatshirts do better. Maybe if there's like outerwear. I've done decent with the pants, but these long sleeve tops just don't seem to be doing great. Next up was a G-Star Raw jacket. This was new with tags and it only sold for $12. This brand, I feel like sometimes it could be a big bolo, but I don't know. Maybe not anymore. And I feel like this was just like not that cute. It was also in a size extra small. So I don't know. That was not it. I've had that forever. An Anthropologie pair of pants for $7. I've had these for a long time too. This is a sub brand. Saturday, Sunday. They were like a harem style pants, relaxed fit. Yeah, it's $7. I'm not doing that anymore. Also Finley. This was a Finley dress that sold for $16. I sold a couple of Finley tops for a decent amount. This was also new with tags. It retailed for a lot of money. I don't think it says there. But yeah, this also did not sell well. And then I sold this Athleta sweatshirt, Purana wrap, size extra small. Again, new with tags. So some good lessons here. And it's not like I knew this buying it. Like, just because it's new with tag doesn't mean it's going to sell for a lot. But when I originally looked up comps, they looked good. But then mine just didn't sell. They sat forever. They got marked down. They finally sold for cheap. So those last few things, not great, but that is life. That is what I sold this week. So I am going to talk to you about it. Okay, next, let's go on to eBay. We sold this Vineyard Vines shirt, size medium, $13.50 with a coupon. I have had this for a while. White eyelet top. Kind of cute, but nothing crazy. Next up, this Torrid Kimono duster. Sold really fast. Wait, I can just click on this. This was in a size 4X. I don't get Torrid very often, but I felt like this was a very unique style. It was sheer, and it had these heart prints all over it, and it was long like duster. It did sell for $25.20 super quickly, so happy with that. Next up was this Alley Miles top. This sold for $37.80 with a coupon. This was in a size petite large. It was a blue and black, oversized, very artsy, art to wear type top. So really good price on that. I don't even usually sell my plus size for that. So why did I even price it that high? I don't know. Anyway, that was great. Lily Pulitzer sweater sold for $45. This was a new with tags, retailed for $128. Martinique sweater. It was a cotton beige fringe cardigan sweater. So I'm happy with that sale. These Keen men's sandals sold really fast for $35. These were the Newport. They were in like new condition, a larger size at size 14. Still sold really fast. I found another pair of Keen sandals with these, so I hope those ones sell as fast as well. Next up are these Athleta pants. These were sold for $25.20. They were the Delancey straight cargo pants. So this was a style that was probably 2 to 3 years old, but I felt like this was still a good trendy style, not their typical leggings or like older joggers. And I guess I was right. So that was great. Next up was the brand Damie, I think. This sold for $35 with a coupon. I just picked this up also at not thrift store, garage sale last week. I don't know why some of these pictures are turning out so small. Also, why are my measurements upside down? I'm kind of a failure at reselling sometimes. Anyway, this had this like wire collar. So like in the collar part, you could like shape it kind of. It was very interesting. It was like meshy. So anyway, that was a really fast sale. I sold this Reformation dress for $40. This was a extra large pink wrap dress. Comps were all over for this style. I priced mine in the middle and I accepted an offer of $40. It sold really fast. Next up was the brand Gal Meets Glam. This sold for $22.19. If this was a maxi dress, which is what I thought it was, I think it would have done better. However, it's a jumpsuit, and I have a really hard time selling jumpsuits. Let me know for you guys. Do you guys still sell jumpsuits or rompers? And if you do, what brands actually do good for you? Because I have yet to find one that's consistently good. I sold this Bryn Walker top for $23.72. This was a size large. It was a pink linen tunic. I have had this for a little while. So glad that it finally sold. Next up are these Olakai men's sandals. These sold really fast for $25. Look for that hook symbol. I don't pick up everything from the brand, but these are a pair of leather sandals. I did just find another pair of Olakai men's sandals, so I hope that they sell just as quickly. Next were a pair of men's Lululemon joggers. So I had found a few recently. I put some in my bag for my brother, and then some I kept for myself. These ones were the Surge joggers. They were in a size medium. They sold extremely fast for $45. I was happy with that. Next up is the brand The Row. This is definitely a Bolo brand, so make sure you know this. This tank top sold for $50. Here's what the tag looks like. It's really small, made in the USA. This was just a black, like asymmetrical tank top. So nothing special, but a really good, kind of like a quiet luxury brand, I would say. Next up was this Affliction shirt that sold for $11.25 with a coupon. This was new with tags. Yeah, I don't pick up I was picking up this brand for a while, but I feel like maybe some of the like Y2K stuff could still do okay, but these newer ones, not really. Next up was a Salvatore Ferragamo dress that sold for $32.19. I've had this for so long. It wasn't a size extra small. It had gold buttons. It was silk, but yeah, I'm glad it finally sold. This Eileen Fisher kimono sold for $39. That was an excellent sale. It wasn't a smaller size with a size medium, but I got it because of the material. So it was velvet, and I feel like the velvet does give things a little bit more value rather than just like a viscose or like, what's the other cheap material? I don't know. That's like a cheaper material, I guess you should say. Another pair of Lululemon. These ones were women's this time. These were a size 12 lined Dance Studio joggers, and they sold for $50. So I love selling the Dance Studios. These ones were a newer style, also a larger size, and lined. So those are all factors that helped it to sell better. I sold this J. Crew sweater for $27 with a coupon. This was a 100% cashmere green sweater, and it wasn't a size extra small. So that is an excellent sale for me. Another J. Crew sweater. This one was men's. This sold for $25. I got this because of the collar. So this shawl collar, it's like this long fold over type collar for men, makes them sell better. For some reason, I've experimented with it with a couple of brands, and it does. Plus, this was lamb's wool. Again, really happy to be selling a thick sweater in April. This is exciting. I sold this Brunello Cucinelli tank top for $81. This has been sold and returned for fit, so it shouldn't. Actually, this is on eBay, so it could be again. We're going to really hope that it doesn't. Size medium, amazing sale. And if you guys watched my short form video, spoiler alert, I found more. Yesterday, I was kind of freaking out. So, like, that's crazy that, like, one of my best sales this week, or possibly my best sale, is a tank top. So, go through the tank top section. This was a J. Jill shirt sold for $24.30. I got it because it was the Love Linen line, and that can do well in the larger sizes, size extra large. So, happy with that. Next is the brand Mercari. I think that's how you say it. This sold for $45 with a coupon. This was new with, like, partial tags. I would still consider that new with tags. One size red, like, poncho sweater. Yay. Next was a John Mark shirt that sold for $29.70 with a coupon. Again, what is with these tiny photos? And then why is that one not tiny? I don't know. But this one was very good for spring and summer. Like the tropical vibes. It was kind of beaded. It had the tassels. Very cute. I sold this vintage tank top. And also this sold for $22.50. It was that vintage Victoria's Secret tank top. But for some reason, I didn't have that in the title. But then I had another listing where it did say Victoria's Secret in the title. So maybe those people on Poshmark are right. I'm like kind of a mess. But guys, it's still sold. And I just had a bunch of keywords that I felt like fit it. And some that I feel like kind of could, but maybe not, but it's trendy for the young kids and it still worked. Okay, I sold this Cleo Bella top for $30. I found a few of these Cleo Bella pieces at a local Goodwill in the last couple of days. This one, like I said, sold for $30, and that was good. I hope the rest of them sell well as well. Lululemon Polo Women's Pink, $27. This was a size 10. I did use golf in here. I felt like it was a very, actually, I wrote gold. Oh my gosh, I am so... How many times can I screw up in my life? Oh my gosh. I was supposed to write golf. I am a failure, and sometimes it still works. Okay, can we get through the rest of this without any mistakes? Let's try. Okay, a Goldie jeans, size 32. These were the Riley jeans. They sold for $52. These were new with tags. I did think pay $30 for these, so this was not a good flip. While I might have made a couple of dollars, the resale value, I either am just not holding out long enough, but I don't like to hold out for a long time, or the resale value has just gone down. I feel like the resale value has gone down on a Goldie. I don't think it's as trendy as it used to be, at least not for everything. Next up, our pair was a Lululemon shirt. It sold for $20. This was the Align tee. It was like a purple-ish color, so that was decent. I sold these Cole Haan men's shoes for $10. I've had these for quite a long time. Navy blue lace-up low-top sneakers, so glad to get rid of those. Next was an Eileen Fisher top, sold for $22. This wasn't a size 2X. Usually I can get more for Eileen plus size, but this one got marked down a couple of times, and that's what it ended up selling for. These are a pair of Lululemon leggings, sold for $35 with a coupon. These ones I just listed. They were the ribbed Align, and they were in a size 16. They were newer with this square tag, so that was a nice quick sale. And then I also sold this Pact sweatshirt. This sold for $20. Pact is a good organic sustainable brand. This one was organic cotton, a green size medium sweater. Another pair of Lululemon. These ones sold for $19.44. These ones were a pair of Align crops. So the crops can still do okay with certain styles like Aligns. I wouldn't get them for everything. And it is raining outside. Next up was a Johnny Was Tahini. This one only sold for $35. I got a bunch of these last spring, so this was still hanging around. It was new with tags. It seems like the one pieces did a little bit better, but the larger sizes, so I think I still have like one or two left of like really small sizes. This is getting returned, so I knew it was going to get returned. This person asked me a bunch of questions. I answered them, and I just knew it. So anyway, it was a Jones New York shirt that sold for $24.30. I got it because it was plus size and because it was linen. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, we are doing this through the 25th. Dansko shoes sold for $21. These were a pair of Mary Jane black leather shoes. Nothing special. 21 bucks in that. Next up was a Patagonia dress that sold for $45. This was new with tags. Square neck midi dress in a size medium. This was very, very cute. $45 in that. Fit Flop sandals sold for $25 with a coupon. These sold extremely quickly, so I will pick up Fit Flop sandals in the spring and summer. Remind me of Vionics. Or what's another brand? I can't think of it right now. But comfort like sandal brands that do well. Ugh. If you guys can think of what I'm talking about, let me know. There's like 3 that I feel like I sell pretty regularly. Okay. Next was a Disney dress, sold for $25. This was a vintage Disney dress with Mickey Mouse on it. Here's the Disney catalog tag. It was also in a size 2X, which I think that definitely helped. So that was a nice quick sale. Next up was this J. Crew sweater that sold for $26.10. This was another J. Crew cashmere sweater. This one was black. It did have some pilling, so I made sure I took pictures of that. I did try my sweater shaver. It didn't seem like it was making much of a difference, so I just sold it as is. These Free People pants sold really fast for $35 with a coupon. These did also have this discoloration, like stain spot on the waistband, but they still sold really fast. Free People movement, so I think it's because of that barrel leg that's still really trendy. So I would look for that out at thrift stores in like lots of brands. Another pair of Lululemon. These ones sold for $19. These ones were Grace's old leggings. Size 6 Aligns. They did have a little bit of wear, but still I sold those pretty quickly. And then that's it. So let's talk about my numbers. Wow, guys, I cannot believe how many mistakes I made this week. Yikes. My personal sales, this is profit after fees and cost of goods. Personal through Instagram, however you want to say that, $128.81. Mercari made $23.92. Depop, $50.46. eBay, $706.32. Poshmark, $413.37. Total profit for the week, $1,322.88. Profit per day, $188.98. So lower than I want to be, but that's okay. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Also, have you guys dealt with that Poshmark stuff that's going on? That's like people are saying they're getting suspended when they delete things off of Poshmark that have sold somewhere else. That's kind of scary. I think it's a glitch, but people are saying they're getting suspended. So I really hope that doesn't happen to me. I really hope they get it figured out soon. So I hope not. Anyway, let me know down below what was your best sale this week. I think mine was that Brunello Cucinelli tank top at $81. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. I have a fun video coming out for you then. So come back Sunday. All right. Bye, guys.